Yeah, because we already have this in conjunct over here between not Mercury, I meant to say Saturn. Between Saturn and the moon. So we have the other part over here, because I told you guys this thing loves not showing Chiron unless I put it on, but then it goes psycho with everything else it shows. But Chiron's over here in conjunct the moon too. So we have Chiron and Saturn making yod points at anything between um, 5 to 10 degrees over here, pretty much. So if you have any Virgo placements between those, then you're getting more yods. Um, or if you have any Aries placements or any Aquarius placements. So you're getting like a double, triple, or however many odds you want to call it at this point. But you're getting extra ones on top of there, because I got my North Node at 9. So it has that, and it pulls in my natal one by literally doing a whole bunch of shit. So that's just something for you guys. If you're feeling this moon like extra heavy, like going into Thursday, um, loaded with Aquarius. Well, if it's at those early degrees I was talking about, then you're joining the party too. Technically, collectively, we're all getting one in our chart. We're going to be feeling something heavy on this day. There is a lot of karma, very heavy right now, because we're looking at Saturn being part of this. So if a lot of this energy that's going towards the moon right now is very karmic in relation, but also dealing with like these structures and law and restrictions, it's like this weird energy that subconsciously as a collective we're feeling it. Now this is going to hit people different depending on how in tune you are and how much you've been working with this energy, because since the other part of the odd is in Chiron, and with this Aries energy, the healing of the self, this is direct impact on this moon. Like the proportion, if we want to look, okay, we're going to start talking about math. If we were going to do proportions and have it like needing to be an equal balance, it's almost like what you have been learning and healing through the self is going to be directly proportionate to just how much in tune you are with the intuition, with the subconscious energy and understanding it, which is why it's going to have that effect on people. If you've been running from this energy of healing the self or healing childhood energies, because these are our deep wounds. These can also be karmic wounds, ancestral wounds, things that you're learning to break and might not necessarily feel fair. Oh, hi, babe. Missed you too. Oh. Well, I'm glad to see you here. Yeah, I got new schedules and everything going on right now, so I know you missed probably some of this, but we're diving into what this full moon energy is doing this Saturday. But like I was saying, we're all going to be feeling it collectively going into this. A weird, how can I put this? It's already Wednesday. This moon is at an early degree. We're probably in the Leo moon or the end of the Cancer moon phase right now, because it's like, getting pretty close to Saturday. So it's definitely scooting up there over the next couple days. So not quite there yet, we're feeling a build happening. Like, it was more emotional, now it's turning more vocal. And it's pretty much like that collective reading Monday, where things are going from this emotional place, needing to be in like your own power kind of thing, that confidence energy. It was a reading for the full moon, so it kind of makes sense. But once we move into this energy, it's like collectively we're being pulled to this. And I don't know how many times already this year we've been pulled collectively to something Virgo. It's just, you know, we're having to learn this. And that's probably why I keep getting the thing like talk about sixth house energy, talk about Virgo energy, blah, blah, blah. But like, I guess my own take on it, because of how it affects me personally. Because I have my own moon in Virgo. Even though it's a little further out, it's doing its own thing with. I have multiple grand earth trines as well as grand water trines, and this south node is trying very hard, that's transiting to squeak into making me a grand fire trine. I have so many things just sitting all over my chart right now, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure there's more mystic rectangles, because I mean my chart just loves mystic rectangles and yods. It just loves everything. So I'm just gonna sit here with it. But I'm learning to flow with this, and it's a very different energy than, I gotta say, I have ever experienced. But then again, I have notoriously through my life, not just because of childhood circumstances, but also as I got older and went through learning different phases of myself. This energy is so different because it is so body focused, and I'm so used to mental emotional focus, which I'm pretty sure a lot of us are, and we feel very heavy in this Aquarius energy. And I think that's why Virgo is being so pronounced during this year, is because it can understand air energy. It is of Mercury, like Gemini. So it's probably one of the only other signs that can kind of like almost squeak in and make sense of this. Everything else is just kind of like, what the hell? Fire can get along with it. Water and earth get agitated by it. It's like, but for some reason Virgo can get in there. And every transit we've been seeing, Virgo has been doing something. Like, whether it is for a moment, whether it's for a while, it's just like it is stepping in and trying to make its presence known while things are happening, especially collectively on major moments. And that's because it's speaking to the mental body that helps us go down into the physical body. And but all of this is really, like I was saying, the mental energy and emotional energy that we're all having to heal right now, there's a very big emphasis on it. It's how we're healing the self. This energy calls for a lot of communication, which makes sense with where the North and South node are sitting, in Gemini and Sagittarius, because us trying to come from Sagittarius energy, this wider, broader energy of understanding, and then trying to communicate it, really goes with this collective energy we're feeling with Aquarius during this whole time. It actually lends itself to wanting to help it. Especially once we start going more into Leo season, there's going to be this, we're all going to have a masculine mystic rectangle. They call them masculine and feminine, depending on if it's fire and air or water and earth, because that's how the mystic rectangles work, is they go between those kind of signs. So collectively, we're going to have one of those. I currently, yes, of course, I am going to have one of those, just because, why the hell not? But this energy is, it can be very helpful, but it really calls for balance because it has trines and sextiles in it, which bring opportunity, it brings blessings and things of that nature. It creates easy channels to be able to work with this energy. Now we're going to be moving into that pretty rapidly. Like I said, once we get past this in May with the blood full moon, it's pretty much going to start going towards that. We're going to move through the emotional basis and then just full on into having more of a fiery passion for things. It's going to be kicking up a whole lot of dust and a lot of people. I need to change that sub thing to where it says you can do it with the Amazon thing. I just realized that. I forgot to do it yesterday. That would make it easier for people to know about the subbing thing too. But with this energy, it's going to be sitting for a while. Like I said, if you have Virgo placements at these early degrees, you're definitely going to be feeling these things for a good portion going into the Leo energy, because Saturn moves so slow. Same with Chiron. They both move slow. So you're definitely feeling that. You've been feeling it. Probably since not the beginning of this year, but a couple months into it. Yes, figured it out. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And plus you get to use like the cute emotes and everything too. But this energy right here, what's interesting is, yeah, we have the yod going on, but we can't forget about, like, you know, our best friend, Uranus, over here. What's interesting is this is probably going to be one of the cases where Uranus is actually doing quite a few bonus things for us, which we're not really used to. Uranus has been having a jolly good time creating a lot of issues between the Aquarius placements. But Venus finally has moved into Pisces at this point. So we're having this energy with the sun, which is part of this full moon that's having all this energy pointing at it. We have the sun that's trying to create some balance here, because obviously when you have a whole bunch of very, like, more, how can I put this, not as grounded energy or not as soft energy, because this right here, like I was saying, Virgo, even though it is a feminine sign, really goes with Mercury. So it's still not as grounded or as compassionate as, say, Pisces energy or Taurus energy. And those energies are over here, like, not only forming like a trine to this moon at a very close degree, but it's also forming sextiles to both Venus and the sun. So this is trying to give us a little, like I was saying, it's clear channels, it's opportunities, and it's like kind of like an ease of access kind of thing, where it's trying to help us with this healing, like this point that we're feeling right here that's very heavy. So what's happening is it's helping us find relationships, especially with Pisces energy, that is more soulful, that is more tuned into the subconscious, which this moon is very heavily trying to pull at right now. It's trying to help us find the relationships that bring that out in us, as well as the people that we can bring that out in as well. And it's also bringing this very, because collectively, let's think about this, it's bringing a really big focus on intuition itself, like the word intuition, and also certain things with like addictions, good or bad, because I mean it's like with this Pisces energy, like sitting with Neptune, the sun, and Venus, it's like pouring your energy very unconditionally into something. Now for some, obviously, there needs to be a balance here, because if you're pouring things, not even understanding it, like you're doing it subconsciously, and it's very unbalanced, then it's going to cause you a lot of heartache. It is going to block you off from doing this much needed self-healing here, and you're going to be generating a different kind of karma and putting yourself in restriction and blocking off yourself in this subconscious sense, especially if you're very hypercritical of your own emotions, which can happen from being so detached here and feeling like you deserve what you're getting. Being instead of using this as a key, it's almost like locking things up with it instead. This Taurus energy that is extremely stubborn is really trying to help with this, is trying to bring in grounded energy to your relationships and to pretty much things that soothe the ego, and it's very unexpected. It's not going to how can I put this? It's not going to be like your run-of-the-mill kind of things. Like, this is like the card that we got where it was serendipity, where things just happen and there's no way it's a coincidence. Like, you just know for a fact. Like I said, some of you having Virgo placements, there is a lot of that happening right now just because you actually have this yod happening. And also, Mars is really slowly, like I said, beginning of March, we're almost there, very slowly making its way over here to Gemini, which is going to lighten a lot of this Mars energy that's been pulling at all these Aquarius placements. Staring at my ex-husband. And this energy right here is going to really lighten up communication a lot, and it's also going to lighten up pretty much this heavy feeling of fighting against how can I put this? It's being able to communicate the hurts because of this Aries energy mixing in. Instead of fighting it and trying to bury it, which can be some of the negative aspects of it, it's almost like learning, like, you know, we're supposed to talk about these things. Why are they taboo? There's going to be a lot of more of that, because if you're already, like, paying attention to some things that are going on, like, I don't know, where you would watch things, whether it's the news or wherever, there's been a lot more focus on why don't we talk about this? Why don't we talk about this? Why do we talk about this in a certain way? And things are starting to kind of shift in that direction. This energy itself is happening because we're starting to get closer to where we want to talk instead of where we're trying to do actual physical things. Because this whole thing was really putting the focus on being driven towards grounding ourselves, and through really getting in touch with our senses and being able to learn to respect this very energy that this moon is talking about before we move into this Gemini energy. So if you haven't, you're definitely going to be made to sit down at this moon and kind of learn the sitting process, like. But and if that calls for you learning how to take care of your body and actually sleep, for some of you that haven't been sleeping, or possibly wherever this Aquarius, Aries, Virgo energy is falling in your houses on your chart, it could definitely be dealing with family. Like I was saying, it can be dealing with ancestors. It could be dealing with groups of people that just on a daily basis you are constantly dealing with them and trying to understand how to pull yourself out of their energies, because some people just need to learn energy boundaries, period. With this energy, it's really about having body boundaries. And if we can't do that in our day to day, it's gonna like weaken us, is pretty much what the hyper focus is here. But after this happens, it's gonna move into this energy where we want to talk about it. because it's going to be a collective feeling. It's not just going to be like one person. Certain people, like I said, are going to feel it a lot more heavily if they have placements here. But for those that don't, we're still going to be feeling this as a whole, like as a group here. So definitely going to be seeing some major shifts with that pretty much overnight, because that's happening on the 27th. And so pretty much like about 5 or 6 days after that, so pretty much within the week following this, we're going to be having Mars move into Gemini. So there's going to be like that after the full moon effect, because you know the 3 days after the full moon and before we really feel things. But it's going to be having that effect. It's going to be lingering through the rest of the Mercury retrograde shadow period. I know Mercury is direct now, but we're going to be feeling that shadow period for probably like the same amount of time where we're waiting for Mars to go into Gemini. So all of that is going to be feeling this lift at the exact same time. So my birthday is the 27th. Yeah, happy birthday with the full moon. And this full moon happens like a few minutes after midnight my time. So Pacific happens a few minutes after midnight, Eastern 3 hours, so like 3 a.m. So everyone is pretty much like gonna get this full moon very early in the morning. For everybody, it's just gonna be like a sleep, or if you're still happen to be awake, you're gonna be feeling it right then too. So like I said, it's gonna be building up, and then it's definitely going to be a heavy feeling on all of us. Now, what's really important to remember is that yes, it's, even though I'm saying it's going to be moving there, it hasn't moved there yet. We're still sitting there with this Mars being in Taurus. But it's actually forming a trine to Pluto right now, once again bringing in the depths that we need to learn how to restructure around us and become stable, instead of fearing them and trying to avoid them. This trine is very helpful for creating a drive to actually do that. Because without having this energy, it's almost like, how can I put this? If you haven't been using this energy to ground yourself, like Uranus is trying to really help at the literal time of this moon, like I said, some people are really going to be made just to literally sit with themselves if they've been ignoring it in some way that's very unexpected. There's a few things, and this is why it's bothering me. There's a, like I was saying, we're gonna feel this really heavy before it kind of lightens up in the Gemini energy. But the reason it's being made to feel so heavy right at this time is because we need to learn this before things start like bolting ahead rapidly. Because this is probably going to be one of the lighter areas in between once it finally starts shifting into that Gemini energy. Any of us that have been feeling really run down, that boost of energy is going to come back. And for some people, it's literally going to feel like it's because spring's here. Even if you're somewhere that's freezing, it's going to feel like a springtime renewal kind of energy. I cannot remember when the date is for the spring ahead hour, or if we even observe that. I can't remember what happened with that thing. But I can't remember if we that time change thing. I can't remember. It's daylight saving. I don't know. But for anyone that observes that, I don't know why that was a tangent. But Uranus is, oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, it's doing the same thing with mine. It's forming, this thing's making a grand earth trine sitting on my yod point. So that's one of the grand earth trines. But all of this energy is gearing us up to have the foundation. Not being ashamed of our wounds, it's going to be a big thing here. Because it's almost like finding the beauty in the wounds is pretty much what we're doing right now before moving into this energy. And if you're still being hypercritical, which can happen from Virgo energy, of your wounds, and you're not learning to instead embrace the differences as a beauty, like when you look at them, like, how can I put this? That beauty is in the details kind of side of it, as opposed to the completely breaking things down. It's like that mindset. Seeing beauty in the lessons learned, like it's really about being able to change focus and look at it completely different. It's almost like flipping, like changing a lens or something, getting like that broader view. Like I said, we're all being shown how to come from Sagittarius energy right now with that South Node. If we can actually start going more to that, seeing the beauty in the day-to-day details, but also really acknowledging our senses, like the 5 senses, and we can include the 6th sense over here with the intuition and everything. But if we're really learning how to indulge in our 5 senses in a way that actually helps us benefit from this Pisces energy, that is what we're trying to learn right now. Because once everything starts moving quicker and we're talking about things, it's like pretty much what we've done, we're talking about it and putting it out there. Because all this time was pretty much harnessing potential, and it's going to change after like the next week. And yeah, like the next week or so, like a little bit over a week. It's like there's going to be a major shift that we feel. And like I said, personally, it really depends on where the stuff's sitting in your chart, like which aspects of your life this is really just going to sit on. I don't even look at where it's sitting. I just expect it to be all over my chart at this point. But all of this energy things are really going to, I don't even know where this is going to, things are really going to heat up on the internet once stuff goes into Gemini. There's going to be this need, because Gemini can also be the other side where there's gossip. This energy moving into Gemini, be wary of certain groups if you're affiliated with them, or certain friends, depending on how small of a scale you want to go with that. There is going to be like a lot of breaking down of some of this energy, and it's going to be readily noticeable. Some people are going to be really caught off guard by this. This would be a very interesting energy to see people trying to apologize for certain things that possibly they never would have actually said something about otherwise, especially since Chiron's mixing in here with karma. There's going to be a whole lot of that energy. And people some people are going to be talking to talk, not really having anything to back it up. It's going to be like a large scale thing too. It's probably, I feel like a lot of it's going to have to do with certain people that have been covering things up through humanitarian efforts. And also, like, kind of like trying to get away from things by saying, look at all the nice things I've done. Like, there's going to be people trying to make people feel guilty about that on a large scale. We're also going to be having a lot of religion getting mixed into this as well. Because having both Jupiter and Saturn mixed into this at the same time is, like, pretty much a nice big helping of how else can I how else can I put this? It's okay, for some people it's going to be put your money where your mouth is, but for others there's going to be some religions that are definitely going to be starting to see the collapse starting, certain communities seeing the collapse starting. This and this is all going to be because some people just can't keep their mouth shut. For other people who are actually using this time to learn, especially about the individual, about themselves, they're going to come out pretty much of the woodwork and be seen in a completely different light, as better people, like possibly even the people that have been trash talked for a very long time on a public scale. It's going to come out just how they are personally, and the representation that was given that they honestly didn't care about because they knew who they were. People expressing their individuality a lot more without the fear of persecution, because things are just so much more on the internet right now. And plus things are being voiced about it as well, like a huge cry for everyone to be heard at the same time. And I know pretty soon, by the time May comes, I don't know how long it's going to be at that degree, but Neptune is going to be at the 22 degrees, so we're going to be feeling that energy. We're going to be feeling a double Uranian energy, because you're going to have Uranus sitting over there, but then having the 22-4 energy, when 4 is Uranus energy. I cannot talk. When having that energy sitting with moon energy, with the 2 energy, but also that 22 kind of, how can I put this? It's pretty much like the spiritual builder. It's like the person that just has that natural intuition of how to solve problems. It's very Virgo energy, but it's like hermit Virgo energy, if I was to describe it any kind of way. Having these like pull things together, especially since at that time there's going to be a Gemini stellium, it's like we're pretty much working, like a lot of things are going to be starting past this point that are more of a vocal thing, as opposed to people. I don't know if you guys have been noticing this, but a lot of people have been kind of pulling in. There's been a lot less kind of coming out right now. Like there might have been a few blips that have come out, but it's been very scattered, very sporadic, very like unexpected Uranus type energy. But once it starts going into all of this air and very rapid energy, there isn't going to be like this tie up with people like kind of having hiccups. It's just going to be a lot. That's why we need to be grounded and have our boundaries. For those of you that have been not doing that, it is so important to have those right now. Even on a personal level, you are definitely going to be seeing people being very, like I said, think of what I said on the big scale with everybody. You're going to be seeing these things in person, and you're not going to be able to ignore it, depending on where it's sitting. Like for you individually in your chart, in those areas of your life very specifically, you are going to be seeing this, and it's going to be something that you really need to learn and grow from, and not, which is going to be hard, not take personally. This is you learning how to see where other people come from the lens of, okay, you know, they are where they are, the same way at some point in my life I was at where I was, and I could have caused other people harm. It's being able to be retrospective as well as introspective, and working through that, because if not, you're really going to be putting your foot in your mouth dealing with people. And if you can't think of something, instead of being irrational and just saying something, take some breathing space and walk away is going to be a big thing here, because there's going to be a lot of people, the reason they get irrational is because wounds are getting struck that they tried to hide for a very long time, and just talking about them, especially if they are just blatantly put on the internet and people start losing their minds over it, especially if it's something they kept hidden with this Chiron energy. especially on a personal level, it's like feeling very attacked and being able to just pull yourself out objectively so you don't make a complete fool out of yourself. Use this energy productively. Use it to create, use it to pull out of yourself the things that are hidden behind the walls. Use it to find things that bring you unique happiness, like, because everyone's happiness is different. It's time to kind of start broadening our perspectives of that and looking a little outside the box with it. Really start diving into you, because if you are doing the opposite right now, which is being in the all's business instead of being in your own, this is really going to start causing you a lot of internal conflict, as well as your relationships having those, because like I said, Venus is tied into this energy, and it is going to stay tied into this energy. You can either use it for good things, or you can use it to trash talk people, because like I said, Mars is going to go into Gemini. It's going to be forming a square to Venus. You decide what you're going to do with it, because your relationships directly are going to start depending on just how much compassion you have and how you look at things. Like, are you giving the same kind of like equal, like the way things need to be level, like that kind of Uranus energy, like I've been talking about? It's like, are you really giving that equal level ground to everyone, or are you putting people on a pedestal or burying them? Because this is like a different kind of energy we have to understand, and it's very collective energy. And those that aren't doing the inner work with it, we are going to be seeing some, like I said, some people are going to make complete fools out of themselves and really wreck relationships. And a lot of it's going to deal with, the darker side. Some people are just going to be having a lot of enemies come out and really do things to try to mess them up right now, depending on if they're right side or not, or whatever. There's just going to be a lot of people coming out trying to pull people down very rapidly. And it's going to be with these wounds that they either trusted them with. Like I said, this can go on a personal level. Or perhaps people just making things up, and then it brings up these wounds and they act irrationally. Just try your best to, the more you can understand where you've been yourself, and look at someone the same way you're trying to learn to love yourself, because that's how you learn that unconditional thing, is like you're pretty much reflecting yourself. As much as people don't want to say, well, I would never do something like that, the reflection is more of, are you condemning somebody? Because obviously all of us work different, and I'm not going to bring in any kind of things right now because it could go on forever. But having this is pretty much going to be making us learn that sides are irrelevant. And that's what this energy is trying to teach us. If you aren't learning it, obviously, if you are just being... this is a big energy of learning humanity, at its core, as opposed to like this feeling of not really caring and being like, especially when people got lost in money with this Taurus energy, because a lot of people did get very greedy and go on the side where material things were more important. That's definitely going to be like the headlines of some gossip, like things and that stuff happening. When Mars moves into it, which is going to be sometime later next week. This is just kind of pushing up to this on Saturday, because of the full moon starting to really pull some of these things into focus if you've been ignoring it. But if you have any placements that have the yod, like I was saying earlier, anything between 5 and 10 degrees, Aries, Aquarius or Virgo natally in your chart, you already are feeling these kind of yod points happening. You've been feeling the heavy energy, and you're going to feel it very much so on Saturday with the moon. So if you've been ignoring things, you're not going to be able to ignore it, and then things are going to rapidly change, moving out of this energy. Okay. So, questions. You gotta get right. I mean, okay, yes, some people definitely are gonna get wrecked. I am not gonna lie, because this is also with Gemini. We're gonna be dealing with trickster energy. There's gonna be some people that really show some malicious sides to them and try to ruin people. Like, I could definitely see a flare up in cancel culture once this moves into Gemini. It wouldn't surprise me at all. But like I said, it's going to wide scale look like these things. It could easily be money laundering and things like that because of how we're going to be stepping out of this Virgo energy over here into not Virgo. We're going to be stepping out of the Taurus energy and going into Gemini, which means anything that happened that was very greedy or lustful, things that are more like the side of Taurus that, you know, we don't really we really shouldn't be striving for over here. The people that have really been indulging in that, like, that's the only thing they wanted to do with this, like, drive being in this, being very greedy, being very lustful after things that they shouldn't have been, is pretty much like the seven sins and the indulgences. If you've been really, like, having a really good time with that, once it goes into Gemini, it's gonna be everyone's business. And like I said, dealing with money and greed as well. There's going to be a lot of that, like, starting, like, middle to end of next week is just going to be blasting and blaring. Like, we've been seeing, like I said, little blips of it starting to show up because it's getting close to Gemini, but there's going to be a major shift in that energy once it actually does that. Because the drive is going to change from what I was saying into needing to talk about it. The drive is going to be communication. Everyone's going to be driven towards needing to speak. That's why I feel if you watch a lot of people that are very in tune right now with the subconscious, like whether you're watching readers or just people you like to listen to, like podcasts, different things, whatever you're into, I've been seeing this thing that's happening with people because I like to watch some things just to kind of see what other people are picking up on. And there's been pretty much everything I've been seeing has been some sort of needing to speak truth, like speak authenticity. Like, that's been like a really big reoccurring theme across a lot of people that I've been kind of like just watching on my own time. And seeing this starting to move closer, like especially with Mars moving closer to the North Node, it's going to be like this obsessive pull to need to talk. And this isn't going to necessarily be lighthearted talking, because having this Chiron energy sextiling is like a direct channel to being able to talk about the deep wounds, and then those people that are ignoring them, it's going to turn into gossip and them trying to protect it. It's going to get very dark. So definitely a tax season is here. Yeah, we can see how this can look like tax season, but definitely these things are going to start coming out. Like, I've been seeing little teeny things because I'll look on YouTube sometimes and like just scroll through videos, and of course like news stuff pops up on there. But it's like you see little blips of things starting to come out slowly, and it's like, okay, that was really like really messed up. And then it's like this is going to get more rapid. Like, there's been little, like, none of them are little because they're all very messed up, the things that I've been seeing, but it's going to become more rapid. There's going to be a lot more of them, and it's going to be like one of those topics. It's going to be very polarizing. There's going to be people coming out that you didn't even know did amazing things, and all of a sudden it's being announced everywhere. And then there's going to be people that everyone like really revered and really liked a lot that are going to be getting dropped on their ass because of what they've been hiding. So there's going to be a major flip in the things that are happening, and it really deals with how human that they've actually been, especially if they're in a very high like status area. How human they've actually really been, like behind closed doors, is what's going to be most important right now. Yeah, I'm seriously, I don't know why it's turning in this, but it's gonna be like a lot of exposure. Um, but like I said, personal level, same thing too. Like, if any of this is ringing true and feeling like something going on with you right now, then look inside your intimate personal energy and see where this is hitting. I can do that for some of you guys on here so we can kind of see, like, because, I talked very collectively with this, so we can see how it would personally affect some of you.